The 10 Curious Facts About Jerusalem. In this fascinating journey through time and culture, we will discover Jerusalem's most intriguing secrets. From its ancient tales to surprising facts that defy logic, get ready to embark on a journey full of curiosities and wonders. Welcome to the 10 Curious Facts About Jerusalem. Number 10. A World Heritage Site. The Bible mentions Jerusalem hundreds of times, reflecting its unparalleled importance. From King David, who established it as the capital of Israel, to the construction of the majestic Temple of Solomon, to the crucial events in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, Jerusalem is at the heart of Jewish and Christian faith. The designation of World Heritage specifically recognizes the Old City of Jerusalem and its walls. This area encapsulates centuries of religious history and is home to sites of immense spiritual significance, such as the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Dome of the Rock. These places not only bear witness to the faith and devotion of millions but also to the rich history that has shaped current beliefs and practices. Beyond its historical and religious significance, Jerusalem as a World Heritage Site symbolizes a call for peace and unity amidst diversity. Despite its often tumultuous history, Jerusalem remains a reminder that faith, hope, and love can coexist and flourish amidst differences. Number 9. The City of Gold. In biblical tradition, Jerusalem is often seen as an earthly reflection of a heavenly reality. In the book of Revelation, the New Jerusalem descends from heaven, shining with the glory of God, and its brilliance was like that of a very precious jewel, like jasper, clear as crystal. Revelation chapter 21 verse 1. This description evokes images of light and purity, symbolizing the presence and glory of God. In the time of the Old Testament, Jerusalem was the center of Jewish worship. Solomon's temple, adorned inside with pure gold, 1 Kings chapter 6 verses 20 to 22, was not only a symbol of wealth and splendor but also a place where God's presence was palpable among His people. For Christians, Jerusalem is the backdrop for some of the most transcendent moments of Jesus' life. The city, with its golden history, witnessed His ministry, crucifixion, and resurrection, events that marked the beginning of a new era of redemption and hope. Number 8. Jerusalem in biblical prophecy. In the Old Testament, Jerusalem is portrayed as a place of great importance in God's plan. Prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel spoke extensively about its destiny. Isaiah, for example, describes a future Jerusalem as a center of universal peace and justice, Isaiah chapter 2 verses 2 to 4. This passage is known for its vision of nations streaming to Jerusalem to learn God's ways, symbolizing an era of peace and understanding. On the other hand, Jeremiah and Ezekiel speak both of the destruction and the restoration of Jerusalem. These prophets, despite pronouncing judgment on the city for its unfaithfulness, also predict its eventual restoration and glorification. Jeremiah chapter 33 verses 10 to 11, Ezekiel chapter 36 verses 33 to 38. In the New Testament, Jerusalem remains a central focus of prophecy, especially in the context of the end times. In the book of Revelation, John describes a New Jerusalem descending from heaven at the end of times, symbolizing the culmination of God's redemptive plan and the establishment of a new era. Revelation chapter 21 verses 2 to 3. Jesus Himself spoke prophetically about Jerusalem. In the Gospels, we find His predictions about the destruction of the temple, Matthew chapter 24 verses 1 to 2, and His teachings about future events related to the city, Luke chapter 21 verses 20 to 24. These prophecies combine elements of imminent judgment with the hope of future restoration. Number 7. The Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock was built in the 7th century under the Caliphate of Abd al-Malik. This impressive Islamic building stands on the Temple Mount, known in Islam as Haram esh-Sharif. What makes this place particularly special is the rock upon which the dome is built. From an artistic and architectural perspective, the Dome of the Rock is a masterpiece. Its design incorporates Byzantine and Persian influences, with its golden dome and detailed mosaics adorning its exterior and interior walls. The dome itself has been renovated several times over the centuries, maintaining its characteristic golden glow that can be seen from various points in the city. The Dome of the Rock is not just a place of prayer. It is also a symbol of the historical and spiritual intersection of three of the world's great religions. It represents a place where history and faith intertwine in a unique way, reflecting the complexity and beauty of the traditions converging in Jerusalem. Number 6. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The history of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre begins in the 4th century when Empress Helena, mother of Emperor Constantine the Great, traveled to Jerusalem. According to tradition, she discovered the true cross of Christ and decided to build a church at the site of the discovery. The original church was consecrated in AD 335, but over the centuries, it has suffered destruction and reconstructions, being a silent witness to the conflicts and changes that have shaken Jerusalem. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has been a major pilgrimage destination since medieval times. Pilgrims from all over the Christian world travel to this sacred place to venerate and reflect on the central moments of the Christian faith. A unique aspect of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is the status quo, an arrangement where various Christian denominations, including the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Armenian, Coptic, Ethiopian, and Syrian, share custody and care of the church. This arrangement has sometimes led to tensions, but it is also a powerful symbol of unity in diversity within Christianity. Number 5. The Western Wall. The Western Wall is what remains of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, built by Herod the Great around 19 BCE. This temple was not only a place of worship but also a center for teaching, justice, and community gathering. Its destruction by the Romans in 70 CE marked a tragic turning point in Jewish history, leaving only the Western Wall standing. The name, Western Wall, comes from the lamentations of the Jewish people over the destruction of the temple, an event that radically changed their history and religious practice. The wall is a constant reminder of that loss but also of resistance and hope. In addition to being a site of individual prayer, the wall is also a place of communal celebration. Here, Jews from around the world gather to celebrate bar and bat mitzvahs, festivals, and holy days, keeping the tradition and Jewish identity alive. Number 4. Destructions and reconstructions. Babylonian destruction, 586 BCE. The first major recorded devastation of Jerusalem is at the heart of the Old Testament. In 586 BCE, after a prolonged siege, the Babylonians, led by Nebuchadnezzar II, destroyed the city and its first temple, the Temple of Solomon. This catastrophic event, mourned in biblical books like Lamentations and Jeremiah, marked the beginning of the Babylonian exile of the Jewish people. Persian Reconstruction. Following the decree of Cyrus the Great of Persia, who conquered Babylon, the Jews returned to Jerusalem around 538 BCE and rebuilt the city and its temple, an event celebrated in books like Ezra and Nehemiah. This reconstruction symbolizes not only the physical restoration of Jerusalem but also the spiritual and national renewal of the Jewish people. Roman destruction, 70 CE. One of the most tragic moments in Jewish history was the destruction of the Second Temple by the Romans in 70 CE, during the Great Jewish Revolt. This event, which marked the end of independent Judea and the beginning of another Jewish diaspora, has been remembered for centuries in Jewish tradition, especially on the day of Tisha B'Av. Subsequent reconstruction periods. Over the centuries, various powers such as the Byzantines, Umayyads, Crusaders, Mamluks, and Ottomans have left their mark on Jerusalem, rebuilding and remodeling the city according to their own cultures and religions. Each layer of reconstruction added to the rich historical and spiritual tapestry of Jerusalem. Jerusalem in the modern era. In the 20th century, after the formation of the State of Israel in 1948, Jerusalem experienced new waves of construction and development, becoming a modern center for pilgrimage, tourism, and politics. Number 3. Site of crucial events in the life of Jesus. Jesus' last week. Holy Week. The significance of Jerusalem is magnified when considering Holy Week, which marks the last days of Jesus on earth. This week begins with his triumphant entry into Jerusalem, an event celebrated on Palm Sunday. Jesus enters the city not as a military conqueror but riding on a donkey, symbolizing peace, as recounted in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 21 verses 1 to 11. The cleansing of the temple. Once in Jerusalem, Jesus performs one of his boldest acts, the cleansing of the temple, as recorded in the book of Matthew chapter 21 verses 12 to 17. By driving out the money changers and merchants, Jesus shows his rejection of corruption and distortion of faith, reaffirming the holiness of the temple. The Last Supper. On the eve of his crucifixion, Jesus shares the Last Supper with his disciples in Jerusalem, instituting the Eucharist or Holy Communion, as mentioned in the passage from Luke chapter 22 verses 19 to 20. This intimate moment not only symbolizes the sacrifice to come but also establishes a central ritual for Christianity. The trial and crucifixion. The events of the Passion of Christ, including his trial, suffering, and crucifixion, occur within the walls of Jerusalem. Golgotha, the place of crucifixion, and the tomb where he was buried and from which he rose again, are located in this city, as recounted in the Gospel of John chapter 19 verses 17 to 42. These events are fundamental to the Christian faith, representing Jesus' sacrifice for humanity. Pentecost and the spread of Christianity. After Jesus' resurrection and ascension, Jerusalem becomes the site of Pentecost, as described in the book of Acts chapter 2, marking the birth of the Christian church and the spread of Christianity beyond Jewish borders. Number 2. The City of David. The history of the City of David begins with the figure of King David, one of the most prominent in the Bible. According to biblical accounts, specifically in the second book of Samuel chapter 5 verse 7, David conquered the fortress of Zion and called it the City of David. It was here that he established the capital of his kingdom, uniting the 12 tribes of Israel. This act is not only politically significant but also fulfills divine promises made to David and his lineage. Under the reign of David and his son Solomon, the City of David became a center of power, culture, and faith. Here, David brought the Ark of the Covenant, a crucial symbol of God's presence with his people. Later, Solomon would build the first temple on Mount Moriah, adjacent to the City of David, further solidifying the religious and cultural importance of the area. Today, archaeologists have discovered numerous artifacts and structures that corroborate and expand our understanding of the City of David. Among these findings are the ruins of what is believed to be David's palace, evidence of the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem, and Hezekiah's tunnel, an ancient engineering feat. Number 1. Center of three great religions. In the heart of Judaism. For Judaism, Jerusalem is the holiest city, the place where King David established his kingdom and where his son Solomon built the first temple. This temple, and later the Second Temple, were the center of Jewish religious life until their destruction by the Romans in 70 CE. Today, the Western Wall, a remnant of the Second Temple, remains a place of prayer and lamentation for the temple's destruction. Birthplace of Christianity. In Christianity, Jerusalem holds a central place, being the setting for crucial events in the life of Jesus Christ. Here, Jesus was presented at the temple, preached, shared the Last Supper with his disciples, was crucified, buried, and, according to Christian faith, rose again. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, located in the Old City, is venerated as the site of these sacred events. Significance in Islam. For Muslims, Jerusalem is the third holiest city after Mecca and Medina. The Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, located on the Temple Mount, are of special importance. The Dome of the Rock is notable for housing the rock from which the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have ascended to heaven on his night journey, a key event in Islamic faith. This coexistence of sacred sites and religious traditions makes Jerusalem a vibrant mosaic of faith. Over the centuries, it has been a place of pilgrimage for believers from around the world, seeking to connect with their spiritual and historical heritage. However, this diversity has also been a source of conflict, reflecting the complex history of the city.